The alien fleet stretched across the horizon like a wall of death. 17,000 warships blocked the sun over Earth's last colony world. The people of New Damascus had nowhere left to run. Commander Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of humanity's final battleship. The vessel was old. It had fought in 12 campaigns across the galaxy. Its hull was scarred with the marks of 100 battles, but it still flew. It still carried the hope of a species that refused to die. The Vorath had conquered half the galaxy in less than a century. They were tall beings with gray skin and 4 arms. Their technology was superior. Their numbers were endless. And they had never shown mercy to any species they encountered. Sarah watched the enemy formation through the main display screen. Her crew of 300 worked silently at their stations. They all knew the odds. They all understood what this day meant. But not one of them asked to leave. Not one of them showed fear. The colony below housed 2 million souls. Families. Children. The last free humans in this sector of space. If the Vorath broke through, they would all be enslaved or killed. There would be no rescue. There would be no second chance. Admiral Korath of the Vorath fleet opened the communication channel. His face appeared on the screen. His 4 eyes stared with cold contempt at the single human vessel that dared to stand against his armada. "You are foolish creatures," Korath said through the translator. "Your species has fought us for 40 years. You have lost every major battle. Your homeworld burns. Your colonies fall one by one, and still you resist." Sarah stepped forward. Her voice was calm and steady. "We resist because that is what humans do. We resist because giving up is not in our nature. We resist because as long as one of us draws breath, we will fight for our freedom." Korath made a sound that might have been laughter. "One ship against 17,000. What can you possibly hope to achieve?" Sarah smiled. It was not a smile of joy. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. It was the smile of someone who had already accepted death and found something beyond it. "We hope to show you why you should have killed us all when you had the chance," she said. She cut the communication and turned to her crew. "Begin the Phoenix Protocol." Deep in the heart of the old battleship, something ancient began to wake up. Humanity had spent decades hiding their greatest achievement from the Vorath. They had lost battles on purpose. They had retreated when they could have stood. They had let colonies fall to protect this one secret. The Phoenix Core was not just a weapon. It was the culmination of human science and human will. It was born from the same stubborn refusal to accept defeat that had carried humanity through ice ages and plagues and wars. It was the answer to every alien species that had ever looked at humanity and seen only prey. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb monitored the activation sequence from his station. The ship began to shake as power levels climbed beyond anything the Vorath had ever measured. Warning lights flashed across every console. The hull groaned under stresses it was never designed to handle. "Core temperature rising," Marcus reported. 70%, 80%, 90%. The Vorath sensors detected the energy buildup. Admiral Korath felt the first touch of something he had not experienced in 300 years of conquest. He felt uncertainty. "What is that ship doing?" he demanded. His tactical officer studied the readings with growing alarm. "Admiral, the energy output is impossible. No vessel of that size could generate such power. Our instruments must be malfunctioning." But the instruments were not malfunctioning. They were recording the moment when humanity stopped hiding. Sarah gripped the arms of her command chair as the ship transformed around her. Panels slid away to reveal new systems beneath. The old hull plating ejected into space as a new skin of gleaming golden metal emerged. The engines flared with fire that burned brighter than any star. "Phoenix Protocol complete," Marcus announced. "All systems nominal. Commander, the ship is ready." Sarah looked at her crew one last time. They had all volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not survive. They had all chosen to be here, at the end of everything. She had never been more proud of her species than in that moment. "Launch the beacon," she ordered. A small probe shot away from the ship and jumped to faster than light speed. It carried a message to every human survivor scattered across the galaxy. It carried proof that humanity had not surrendered. It carried hope. Admiral Korath watched the transformed human vessel with his 4 eyes wide open. The ship that had seemed so small and weak now blazed like a newborn sun. Its golden hull reflected the light of 1,000 fires burning within. "All ships," Korath commanded, "destroy that vessel immediately." 17,000 Vorath warships opened fire at once. The space between them and the human ship filled with enough energy to crack a planet in half. The barrage lasted for 10 full seconds. When the light faded, the human ship remained. Its golden hull was untouched. Its engines still burned with that impossible fire. "How?" Korath whispered. The Phoenix began to move. It did not accelerate like a normal ship. It simply existed in one place and then existed in another. The Vorath ships tried to track it, but their targeting systems could not keep up. The first wave of Vorath destroyers vanished in a burst of golden flame. The Phoenix passed through them like they were made of paper. Its weapons did not fire beams or missiles. It released pure energy that dissolved everything it touched. Sarah watched the enemy formation begin to break apart. Ships that had been perfectly arranged moments ago now scattered in panic. The Vorath had never faced anything like this. They had conquered hundreds of species. They had crushed every resistance. But they had never fought humans who were truly unleashed. Second wave eliminated, her tactical officer reported. Enemy casualties at 12% and climbing. Admiral Korath screamed orders at his fleet. He demanded that his ships form a defensive sphere. He called for reinforcements from nearby systems. He tried every tactic he had learned in 3 centuries of war. Nothing worked. The Phoenix danced through the Vorath armada like a creature of myth. It spun and twisted and struck with precision that seemed almost artistic. Each movement destroyed another ship. Each burst of flame ended another threat to the colony below. The warriors of the Vorath fleet watched their instruments with growing horror. The light from the human weapon was so bright that their sensors burned out. They shielded their eyes, but still the golden fire reached them. Still, it found them wherever they hid. Korath realized the truth in his final moments. The humans had not been weak. They had not been losing the war. They had been waiting. They had been preparing. They had been building something that would change everything. The last thing he saw was the Phoenix rising through the wreckage of his fleet. It burst through the clouds of debris like a creature reborn from the ashes of destruction. Its golden wings spread wide as it climbed toward the surviving ships. The Vorath warriors who lived through that day would tell stories about it for generations. They would speak of the moment when they thought humanity was finished. They would describe the terror of watching their greatest fleet burn. They would remember how they had shielded their burning eyes from the light of human victory. Sarah Chun sat in her command chair as the last Vorath ship fled into faster-than-light escape. The colony was safe. 2 million people would live to see another sunrise. The message had been sent across the galaxy. "Commander," Marcus said, "we did it." Sarah nodded slowly. She looked at the readings that showed the Phoenix core cooling down. They had won this battle, but the war was not over. The Vorath would return with more ships. Other alien empires would hear what happened here and grow afraid. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. "Send a message to all human forces," she ordered. "Tell them the Phoenix has risen. Tell them it is time to stop hiding. Tell them we are coming home." Across 1,000 light years, humans who had spent decades running received the signal. They watched the recordings of the battle with tears in their eyes. They saw the golden ship tear through an impossible enemy. They felt something they had almost forgotten. They felt hope. On a hidden station orbiting a dead world, a group of human scientists celebrated. They had built the Phoenix core in secret over 20 years. They had sacrificed everything to give their species a chance. Now their work had proven itself. Now humanity had a weapon that could challenge any empire in the galaxy. The leader of the project raised a glass to his colleagues. "Today we showed them what we are made of," he said. "Today we reminded the universe that humanity will never be conquered. Today we burned bright enough to light the way home." The Phoenix turned toward the colony world and descended through the atmosphere. The people below gathered in the streets to watch it pass. Children pointed at the golden ship with wonder in their eyes. Parents held each other and wept with relief. Sarah looked down at the world she had saved. She thought about all the battles still to come. She thought about all the enemies who would try to destroy humanity. She thought about the long road ahead. But she also thought about her crew. She thought about the scientists who had made this possible. She thought about the stubborn spirit that had carried her species from caves to the stars. And she knew that whatever challenges waited in the future, humanity would face them together. The Phoenix landed in the central plaza of New Damascus. Its golden hull slowly cooled as the engines powered down. Sarah Chun stepped out onto the surface of the world she had protected. The crowd surged forward to meet her. They wanted to thank her. They wanted to touch the hero who had saved them. But Sarah held up her hand to stop them. "Do not thank me," she said. "Thank every human who refused to give up. Thank every scientist who worked in secret. Thank every soldier who died to give us time. This victory belongs to all of us. This fire burns in every human heart." She looked up at the sky where the Varth fleet had gathered just hours before. The stars were clear now. The enemy was gone, but she knew they would return. "We are the Fire Phoenix," she said, "and we will never stop burning." The crowd cheered. The sound echoed across the city and out into the countryside. It was the sound of a species that had remembered its strength. It was the sound of humanity rising from the ashes once more. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the Varth commanders received reports of what had happened. They gathered in their war chambers and argued about what to do next. Some wanted revenge. Some wanted to negotiate. But all of them felt the same cold fear in their hearts. They had awakened something they could not destroy. They had pushed humanity too far, and now they would face the consequences. The Fire Phoenix had burst through the clouds. The warriors had shielded their burning eyes, and the galaxy would never be the same again.